Okay, so you should have this worksheet in front of you. We are asked to name the 3D figure, name the base, meaning the shape of the base, write the formula, talk about variables, and then solve to find volume. So the first thing that we need to do is identify whether or not this is a prism, a pyramid, a cylinder, what have you. So we're going to identify it as a prism. Prisms have two bases that are opposite and parallel. The first thing that you want to do is, well, does it look something like this? That would be a pyramid, but I don't see everything coming to a vertex. So we know that this is a prism. So I've got to find the shape of the bases. Now, your bases are opposite and parallel, and on a prism, a rectangular prism, it doesn't matter what the bases are. So what you want to do is highlight, we're going to say that this is the base, so highlight your base, and then I want you to highlight the height. So if this is our base and our height, we know that it is a rectangular prism. The name of the base, well, prisms are named by the shape of their bases. So the base is a rectangle. It's an N. And then the formula, you pull out your formula chart for volume of prisms. The formula is volume equals big B times H. Big B is the area of the base. So we're going to say the volume is big B times H. We know V stands for our volume. Big B is the area of the base. Well, what base is this? It's a rectangle. So the formula for area of a rectangle or a parallelogram is base times height. So we're going to substitute in base times height. And H is the height of the prism. So let me go ahead and write that down. Area of the base, and this H is height of prism. Make sure you're pausing the video as needed to write this down. So now we're going to substitute into our formula. So we're going to start with V equals big B times H. So volume equals, well, what is big B? Remember, it's area of the base, so we're going to say base times height. And then what is this H? This H is the height of the prism. So now let's substitute in the base and the height of our base. 13 by 3. And what is the height of the prism right here? Is 9. So go ahead and substitute that into your calculator. 13 times 3 times 9 is 351. Now for volume, our units are always cubed. We are actually determining the number of cubes that will fill this object. So 351 millimeters cubed. So go ahead, if you need to, pause the video and make sure that you have this written down. Okay, let's go on to the next one. The next one is just like the first one. Let's identify what figure this is. This is a rectangular prism. Okay, and the name of the base. So let's go ahead and determine what our base is. Doesn't really matter, again, what our base is. I'm just going to go ahead and call this front face. I'm going to call it our base, and I'm going to highlight it. So highlight your base and then highlight the height of the prism. So if this guy were sitting on its base, this 3 meters is how tall it would be. Alright, so the name of the base, since it's a rectangular prism, the name of the base is a rectangle. Okay, so we know that the formula, just like we did up here, is area of the base times the height. Area, big B, area of the base, and times the height of the prism. Make sure you're pausing and writing down if you need to. Alright, we know volume is our V, big B. In this case, what is big B? The area of the base, so that's the area of a rectangle, just like we did up here. So let's substitute in the formula for area of a rectangle, which is base times height. So we're going to write volume equals big B times H. All right, now for big B, we're going to substitute in base times height times the height of the prism. You have two heights. This height is the height of the base, so either this or this, and then this height is the height of the prism. So volume equals, all right, base times height. So let's go with 14 times 9 times the height of the prism. How wide is it or how tall is it? Times 3. So go ahead and substitute that in to your calculator, and you should get 378 meters. Meters are our units cubed. So 378 cubic meters will fill this prism. So go ahead and pause. Rewind if you need to. Okay, now we're going to look at this next figure. All right, again, what shape is this? Again, it is a rectangular prism. What is the shape of the base? If it's a rectangular prism, the shape of the base is a rectangle. Now we have to determine, well, what's the base? Remember, it doesn't always have to be sitting on its base. I'm just going to go ahead and call this our base. So if it was sitting on this base, how tall would it be? The height would be 15. So always highlight your base and your height. We know, again, the formula for volume of any prism is area of the base times the height. Okay, what does big B stand for? Area of the base. What does H stand for in this? Is height of the prism. So we know volume is V. Big B is the area of the base. What shape is this? It's a rectangle. Again, which we know is the formula for a rectangle for the area of a rectangle is base times height. So let's come over here. Volume equals big B times H, area of the base times the height. All right, what is the area of the base? What's the formula? It's base times height times the height of the prism. Remember, base and height of the base and height of the prism. So let's substitute in 10 by 12 times the height of the prism. So go ahead and substitute, or I'm sorry, plug in to your calculator, and you should get 1,800. Now, what are our units? Our units are inches, and volume is always going to be units cubed, again, because we're trying to determine the number of cubes that will fill this prism. Okay, pause, rewind if you need to. All right, this next one, again, we have a rectangular prism. The name of the base, if it's a rectangular prism, is a rectangle. So the formula, oh, I forgot to do something. I'm going to have to highlight the base and the height. Just for fun, just to show you, any of these on a rectangular prism, any of these can be the bases. So this is your let's say this is your base right here. If you tilt it over and it's standing right here, how tall is it going to be? 11 centimeters. So volume, area of the base, times the height. Again, I really want you to remember that big B is area of the base times the height of the prism. So big B, V is volume, big B is area of the base. That's the area of this rectangle. How do you find the area of a rectangle? Base times height, times the height of the prism. So let's start over with the formula, big B times H. Now I'm going to take my big B and I'm going to substitute in my formula, base times height times the height of the prism. All right, here's our base and our height of the base. So 8 by 7 times the height of the prism, which is 11. So substitute in, or not substitute in, plug into your calculator, and you should get 616 centimeters, and we're finding volume, that is centimeters cubed. Okay, pause and rewind if you need. Okay, and this last one right here, let's identify it. This also is a rectangular prism. The name of the base is a rectangle. If you haven't worked this one yet, I'd like you to pause the video, work through it just like we did the other ones, and see if you can solve this on your own. So go ahead and pause if you haven't worked it yet. All right, the first thing I'm going to do is highlight my base. I'm just going to go ahead and call this my base. Now, if this prism was sitting on this base, how tall would it be? 19 meters. So let's go ahead and write down our formula. Big B times H. What does big B stand for? Area of the base. What does this H stand for? Height of the prism. Okay, V is volume, big B is area of the base. What shape is our base? Our shape is a rectangle. The formula is base times height, times the height of the prism. So, big B times H. I'm going to substitute in, for big B, I'm going to substitute in my formula, base times height, talking about base times height of the base, times the height of the prism. So, base and the height of the base is 6 by 7 times the height of the prism is 19. So go ahead and plug into your formula, and you should get 798 meters, what? We're working with volume, meters cubed. Pause, rewind as much as you need.